Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. Bienvenue à Tennis Weekly Journal. Bonsoir, Alina. We are back and we are live from Roland Garros for another episode of Tennis Weekly brought to you by Property Hub Invest. Media Day became Media Week. We also had Jannik Noah Day, and then today, Rafael Nadal Day. Do we think that will become a permanent fixture for the opening Sunday?
I'm not sure about a permanent fixture, but we do know that there is a fixture left on the Chatrier court now.
Yes, it is a permanent fixture. The footprint
of Rafael Nadal in a beautiful plaque that will just stay there.
I quite like the footprint. I think it's very nice. It is his shoe, though.
It is his shoe.
It's not necessarily a slide, because a slide wouldn't really show the mark, but it is lovely that it's there and you can brush it. I'm not 100% clear if it will be shown always. I don't think it will be. I think it will be covered with the clay. We don't know. We'll report back.
We have 13 days to actually see.
We do. So we could also probably just have a look tomorrow. We will update you on that, but it has been very emotional. We will get into the Nadal story. Obviously, that is the big story. But in the second half, just to kind of tempt you, we do have some of the stories from Media Day. We had Iga Swiatek, who, well, she turned a comedian in press. And we had some hard-hitting journalism, didn't we, Alina?
Yes, especially coming from our hometown, Copenhagen.
Yes, quite something. We will take you through that. It involves Jannik Sinner not having a Danish girlfriend. And we also have stories of unexpected arrivals in press conferences. So hopefully that will keep you listening. But first, we're going to discuss day one. And so I've made it clear, these little journals are not all-encompassing. We're giving you sort of, I guess, the vibe check, Alina. The stories you might not hear about on the main podcast, but hopefully you do want to hear about.
Yeah, they're going to be our journal notes as we scour the grounds and the media room.
Our Roland Garros coverage is brought to you by Property Hub Invest.
If you're looking to build a successful property portfolio without the stress of going it alone, Property Hub Invest could be exactly what you need.
With over 13 years of experience and trusted by the Sunday Times as weekly property columnists, the team behind Property Hub Invest have helped thousands of investors build hands-off, high-performing portfolios.
They source buy-to-let opportunities you won't find anywhere else, complete with exclusive investor discounts, then guide you through every step so you can invest with confidence and grow your wealth the smart way.
So if you're serious about property, head to propertyhub.net/start to take your first step.
That's propertyhub.net/start.
The link is in the description. Today, it was all about Rafael Nadal. There was a very big feel on site that something huge was happening because there was so much more media attention that was there. There were wristbands. You had to have certain wristbands to go in certain places. Security were looking us up and down, so much so, Alina, that you actually thought someone was security. and they were.
A random conversation.
Yeah.
People just look straight at you and we assumed, it's like, should I show you a badge?
We've done something wrong. She showed him the lanyard and he looked at her quite strangely. We were walking down the steps of Philippe Chatrier and he said, well, you can stay and talk with me if you'd like. And we said, we're good.
We're good. We had business.
We were shaken, I think, shaken by the fact that we needed to have the right equipment with us. It was a very exciting first day. And as we've already got into, Nadal was here. It was the big send-off. I'm sure Kim will be giving her response. I have checked in already. Kim is doing okay.
She's
fine.
There were people around the grounds that were not doing fine. There were sniffles in front of the big screens as I was just passing by. It was quite interesting.
Yeah, it was... Rafael Nadal was not the only one crying, and actually more of the men on site were crying, I think.
It was very emotional.
Very emotional. It was a lot of people standing looking at screens, just sobbing. I'm sure lots of listeners at home were equally emotional. You know, I saw a lot of our listeners sharing things like, I'm not crying, you are. But then I guess that he was crying because that's actually what was happening on television. I mean, what a thing to finally happen. It's been a year in the making, and you have some thoughts there that you think maybe some budget was spent, there was a contract, and this had to happen?
I will forever believe that this is the homage that Emily Mauresmo wanted for Rafa last year that has not happened. on his request.
Yes, and that's probably why this is happening, because we haven't really seen this before, but it could also be because he has won 14 times at a Grand Slam, which a feat that's unlikely to ever be surpassed. It's something truly incredible, and so this was a truly incredible experience.
Do you think it's something that the French do? Do we expect to see something like at Wimbledon?
They love a ceremony here. I think what I've learned from my many years of coming to the French Open is a French player who maybe peaked just outside the top 50 would get a ceremony on Chatrier. So
maybe an event name, the Jannik Noah Day?
Well, I mean, he peaked a bit higher than that. But, I mean, definitely the case that they love a ceremony. There are many more in the books. I'm sure there will be one for Caroline Garcia. We already have had several announced. Richard Gasquet as well. It's his final championship, which is also quite nice because there were moments today when Nadal was reunited with Gasquet, his childhood friend, but also he was reunited with 3 other gentlemen, Alina.
Yes, we had the Magic Four on court again, and boy, that looked full of hope for everyone. Somebody said, go play doubles.
Yes, go play doubles. I saw that. I think that would be quite entertaining, but there was no exhibition because the night match was coming on. But in terms of the Nadal moment, it really was very unique. We were there during the Musetti match just before, and they were handing out T-shirts. And this made for a very beautiful visual demonstration. As soon as this came out, you thought, I know what's happening.
There's a bit of a flash mob going on there.
Did you think flash mob? You told me they were going to write something. And I was like, everyone's getting a T-shirt, Alina. What are they writing?
They were writing
Messi, Rafa, and a heart. It was very nice on those top shelves. I did have to ask you, would you rather have been one of the white T-shirts, white sort of hats, or one of the clay T-shirts that most people had?
That is a very difficult one because
the hat is hard to pull off.
Do you want to be in the heart or do you want to be the clay?
Oh, you think about it like that. I don't think that hat would be particularly fetching on either of us. It was not the full...
We're not hat people.
We aren't. Not proper hat people, that's for sure.
So we will go clay background.
We will clay background, white hat, definitely not allowed. But it was quite funny seeing all these people in the T-shirts wandering around the grounds. It felt like there was like a club that happened.
You would know who went to the Rafa homage.
It had the date on as well. So Kim, I will try and find one for you that you have to have and keep forever and hold on to that memory. But she said it's fine if I don't manage to secure one because we have got her a special edition of the paper from today. So that will do the job. Alina, you secured that for us. One thing before we kind of move off from the Rafa sort of experience today, there was a moment in press that I thought was particularly amusing. Obviously, a lot of the questions were around the big reunion, but it seems like football is following us.
Football seems to make an apparition.
PSG especially.
Especially with PSG.
The draw ceremony.
The draw ceremony had a PSG player, and then Rafa mentioning again PSG. We know they're big, but
when worlds collide.
I did not expect it to come up in this context.
In the Rafa final farewell press conference. Well,
exactly.
Only Andy could have brought it out of him. And I thought this was so amusing, we have to play it to you in full.
My good friend Andy, that I was not able to, we were not in touch for a while. The day that Arsenal beat Real Madrid, when the match just finished after 1 second, he texted me a message telling me, no, I'm going to read because it's quite good. So I feel that it's quite interesting. Hey, Rafa, haven't spoken to you in a while. Just checking in to make sure you are okay. So, honestly, it took me like 5 seconds to realize what I was reading. Because at the beginning, I said, okay, he's such a nice guy. Huh? He's asking me about how I'm doing, family. And after 5 seconds, I said, this always British. British sense of humor that... By the way, I didn't text him back when Inter beat Arsenal.
Hi,
well, PSG, sorry.
How wonderful was that? I feel like Andy able to sort of crack up the entire press conference room there. It seems like although they might not be in contact as much as maybe he is with Novak, it feels like they're probably more amusing in terms of some of the misunderstandings that happen between them.
Hey, as he said, only Andy.
Only Andy. It's that British sense of humour, Alina. How do you find it?
As usually, I enjoy it.
You enjoy it?
I enjoy it.
No misconceptions here?
I would be biased. It's very far from the Spanish sense of humor.
True,
But
yes.
I like a 5-second thinking about it.
Yeah, a riddle. Was he being mean or was he being complimentary? We will never know. But a fantastic ceremony nonetheless. And Amelie Mauresmo got her wish. And the send-off that Rafa deserved did happen. And it was a wonderful thing for people to observe. We must move on because these are supposed to be short and sweet, Alina. And I'm sure that Kim will cover it with Joel in more detail on the round one catch-up. And we're supposed to be keeping these brief, so we'll have to move on. I'm sure that Joel and Kim will cover the Rafa farewell in more detail. We'd love to hear what Kim thinks in more detail also. But we have to talk Tommy Paul because we've been on a Tommy Paul journey, Alina. We went from being almost locked out of his practice session with Casper Ruud to getting an update on the truck after our second press conference with him.
It was a journey. We got a sneak peek. The practice should have been private.
From behind bars.
From behind bars.
We were locked out of
literally.
Simone Mathieu. We could just get a glimpse. We didn't have the right...
We were offered a glimpse.
Yes, the wrong initial on the lanyard for that one. Top secret Simone Mathieu practices. I think quite often practices for our listeners, you don't get to watch them if it's like the off-site or the private practice area. And this area was not open to the public at the time. So it wasn't where people expected to be watched. So journalists were not allowed to go and watch this practice, but we had a little snoop around before the draw ceremony.
And everybody was looking good.
We were trying to see what was going on because it's the sort of first taste of the tennis. Everyone is hitting, the fans are watching on Chatrier and we got a hard no there. So we eventually did get in front of him, and that was also quite amusing because not many people were in front of him at the time. In fact, his press conference was delayed. And at one point, we had to toss up between, do we go to Carlos Alcaraz's or do we go to Tommy Paul's? And what did I say to you?
Let the universe decide.
Let the universe decide. And we got a text which said, Carlos Alcaraz is coming to press. So we went there. And then Tommy was a bit late. I'm not sure exactly what happened there.
And we actually managed to meet both.
We made both. So we ticked both off. And I sent you a text because I got there first. And I got there at the same time that Tommy did. And no one else was there. Because sometimes I think the timings do go a bit awry. I had to ask the first question, but also I had to tell you to get there because you were the one who was able to record because there was no recording for this room. So what did the text say that I sent you?
Tommy now, go, go, go.
I think that said everything I needed to say and more. And did you go, go, go?
I wasn't close. I was in the neighborhood. It wasn't a run,
Okay.
but I did go.
But you moved.
I moved. I got there just in time to capture a bit
Yes.
of your question.
You did indeed. That's not the audio we'll be using because there was quite a lot going on. We were right next to some of the sort of, I'd say less formal activities on Media Day. They asked some sort of fun questions or maybe they put out some props and stuff at some of the different media institutions and broadcasters like you might see on social media. And we were right next to one of those booths where Coco Gauff and Jannik Sinner were making quite a lot of noise. They actually got shushed by the woman who was running the media room. So they've rendered the audio unusable, but the audio we can give you is the truck update, the truck date.
Yeah, no, I just changed banking and forgot to set up auto pay on my truck and missed, I think it was like 3 payments, and they came and took it. I didn't know it happened like that. I didn't know how quick they would come and grab it and like in the middle of the night. But now I'm like watching all these repo shows where they come in and swoop trucks at like 1 a.m. So it's definitely a funny experience, and to be in Europe while it happened is even crazier. But we did get it back. No, so yeah, my trainer, he was still in Boca at the time, and he was calling me, and he was like, hey, like, can you check your cameras to see if you have any packages? Because like when I have packages, he'll go and pick them up and put them in my house. And I looked at the camera to see if there were packages, and there were no packages and no truck. So And then I'm like, going back and scrolling and seeing what happened to my truck. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, there's a tow truck coming and taking my car. I thought it was stolen at first because my first thought wasn't like, auto pay. But, but yeah, ended up being repoed.
He got it back.
The truck is back.
The truck is back. Order has been restored. It was just an easy mistake. You swap bank. I thought your standing orders went with you. So I did have questions. We didn't do a follow-up question. It wasn't needed.
It wasn't. But the story behind it in the end was like, how do you realize that the truck disappeared?
That was the fun bit.
He just checked his camera and realized the truck is gone.
The truck is gone. That footage was harrowing for him, I'm sure. Not an easy watch for someone who's in love with their truck. But it's not been a roller coaster with Tommy Paul. It's been what would you say?
A journey.
It's
been a discovery.
The Tommy tow truck, we've had highs and lows. The truck is gone, but the truck came back, and so did his form in his match today, because definitely the case that Tommy was being a bit passive in that first set. He said he was moody in press, and I think you could see that he wasn't necessarily thrilled to be out there. Tricky conditions, you didn't know.
It's the 4 seasons.
It was the 4 seasons, the wrong type of 4 seasons that we'd be like to be at, Alina. Season 1 was actually quite nice. Then we had the wind, we had the rain, and then we had kind of okay weather the rest of the day. But he survived, the mood lifted, and after a tie-break first set loss, which probably he should have won, did make it look a lot easier. And Alina, we're now going to take a quick break, but do join us in the second half of our Day 1 Journal, brought to you by Property Hub Invest, where we will be talking Iga Swiatek on lifting the spirit of the press room, Jannik Sinner not having a Danish girlfriend, and give you our picks from Day 2's order of play. Welcome back to Tennis Weekly Journal, brought to you by Property Hub Invest. If you're wondering, what is this hard-hitting journalism that happens on Media Day? Well, we can answer that question because Jannik Sinner's returning from a doping ban. He's played at home in Italy. He's coming to France. First Grand Slam back. First question came from the Danes.
Yeah, it came from our adoptive country.
It did, and we'll play that for you now because I'm not sure it was the most insightful, but we have an answer.
No, it was no girl. It was I had to just some business, some couple of photo shootings there, and that's it. Nothing else.
Just following up on that, just wanted to know, what do you think about Copenhagen? Obviously, a big thing in Denmark that the best player in the world were coming to Denmark.
Well, it's I've been there many years ago. I played a junior tournament there. It was in winter, and now visiting. It was nice. I really love the city. It's a very calm city, which I love. I was there only one day, so I didn't see so much because I had to do some stuff and a lot of pictures. So, but all the rest, it was amazing. It was a very nice experience, and you have everything. You have nice parks, where you realize you're not even in a big city, and then you go out and you have everything. So it's it was very nice.
There was no woman.
There's no girl.
No girl, but
no girl.
He liked Copenhagen, so that's something.
It is.
It's a great
city.
Beautiful
it has everything,
city,
and we love it.
We do love it.
It's good to know Jannik Sinner loves it as well.
And Media Day is pretty unserious in other respects too. I actually was taking a call when Sabalenka and some of the puppies that are up for adoption were actually shooting. So that call ended pretty quickly because they're not the quietest bunch. Very
overload.
Cute. It's a cuteness overload, but it's not necessarily conducive to the best working environment. But they had a great day, the puppies did.
I hope they got adopted. I hope it was a success day.
Yes, check the Roland Garros Instagram feed. I'm sure there's details on it. I've seen some of the clips. It does look very, very nice. Elsewhere, on the unserious side, this is the very unserious take on Media Day. Some serious questions are asked, and some questions are asked that produce not an unserious response, but one that really does tickle the press room. And Iga Swiatek was on fire yesterday.
Did you get a lift just coming here? I mean, just
Did I
showing
get a
up.
lift?
Yeah, emotional lift coming here and get a good feeling.
Yeah, but it's not. What do you mean? Like, I feel good overall, so maybe I played bad some matches, but it's not like I need so much of emotional lift. Like, but for sure, it's nice to come here. Did you get a emotional lift?
I haven't won 4 times here, so just another tournament for me.
I'm sorry, you're not lifted.
I'm sorry you're not lifted. Are you lifted, Alina?
I'm lifted because coming to Roland Garros is not yet another tournament for me. So
No, it
I'm
isn't.
always
You're normally at a
very
250
happy.
with me.
I am very lifted.
Yes, we are lifted. We're very lifted to be here. And I think probably the journalist asking that question was also lifted because it is a fantastic tournament to attend, and the FFT do make it such a wonderful experience for both players and those that work here. I think it really is something.
It's good. And it's good to see Iga in such a mood. I think it really lifted the room as well.
It did. We were all lifted by that. I was lifted by that response. I was also a bit tickled by that response. But again, she's winning me over. I think she's winning me over. I do like this era of Iga where I think she might do something really special here now. I think the way she answered that made me think this could be something very interesting because it's almost like a different Iga's been unlocked. Not necessarily translating on the court yet, but if it's going to translate anywhere, I do think it will be Paris. But there's something else we have to talk about, which is what happens in press when you go to attend one press conference and then the door opens and another player enters.
Weren't you surprised?
Were you surprised?
I did not.
How could you not be?
Who was?
Who came through? It was Alex de
Because
Minaur.
I was expecting Lorenzo Musetti.
Well, they're both in Asics. So
They're both in Asics.
Same shoes.
Same shoes.
Yes, indeed. We had a bit of a surprise because on the schedule it said that it was going to be Musetti. We were waiting, but we actually should have probably realised that Paolini was also doing media at the exact same time in a different room. That would split the Italian journalists, so I think they pushed Musetti back. But that meant that when Alex de Minaur came through the door, there was no Australian press there, and nobody necessarily had prepared for that at that moment because that was not who we were anticipating would be there. So you can listen to the question that I went in for. I went first question. I took a hit for the team, a hit for the room, and I had actually quite wanted to ask him this question anyway. So it worked out well for us, and hopefully it didn't work out too badly for Alex.
Obviously, Katie got a win on the clay last week. That wasn't always necessarily her favourite surface. In terms of clay, do you feel like that sort of inspires you to do even better on the clay than you have done previously?
Well, yeah, now she's got something that she can put over my head for a very, very long time, is that she's officially got a title on clay and I don't. So looks like I'm going to have to, ask her a couple tips here and there, and she's officially the clay specialist in the relationship now.
The clay court specialist of the household is Katie Boulter.
She is holding something.
The gorilla, the red gorilla, the Clarence Trophy.
I wonder, would that make for good house decor? Would it be placed somewhere where it will always be reminded?
You need to have a bold sense of style, and I think probably they do have some bold choices because the Asics APC collaboration is quite bold, but we must look ahead. We are looking to day 2 and we're looking to the schedule for day 2. So, Alina, this is a section where we say what are the matches that we are picking to watch, and we find out will we be watching together. So I'll let you go for pick of the day. I will give you our listeners a quick sort of run through as to what they can expect. On Chatrier, we have Iga Swiatek versus Kim's favourite, Rebecca Shromkova, Osaka Badosa. We also have Richard Gasquet playing in what could be his last French Open Tour de Form, playing a French player on Philippe Chatrier. And then the night session, Jannik Sinner versus Arthur Rinderknech, a player that we've seen in some spicy circumstances before. And on court Susan Longlon, we have Emma Navarro, Carlos Alcaraz, Caroline Garcia, Arthur Fils versus Nicolas Jarry. And then we have a few other matches on the outside courts. I won't go through them all, but what out of that list is your pick from the big courts?
Well,
who are you pulling up a pew for?
I was very delighted last year to see the Osaka Swiatek, and I will get in for Osaka Badosa. We know It's gonna be good.
Let's just hope
It's gonna be a
hope Badosa's fit for that one. That's a good one. That's top choice. And of the outside courts, where else are you looking?
Simone Mathieu
and
Casper Ruud playing. And we also have Madison Keys playing Daria Saville.
We do indeed. That could be very interesting. She's returning to form. I'm obviously looking at the Brit here. We have got Katie Boulter playing against a French player. So that could be very interesting. And also a clash with some of the exciting matches of the day. Emma Raducanu, I think she's out on court 8. So that will be where I will be starting. No surprises to our listeners. And I'll be seeing how she shapes up in her first French Open in quite some time. So it's going to be a full schedule again. All matches are not quite done. Your final update from the French Open, where play is still going, is that Nuno Borges is still playing on court 6. That is not a night session match. That is going deep. They are actually on their way to a 4th set. They could be going longer. And all the way on court Philippe Chatrier, it is 2 sets to Lorenzo Sonego. So that could be an upset for Ben Shelton. So that is a bit of a surprise for the books, but that's a surprise that we'll be talking about tomorrow if it does happen, when we'll be back for another episode of our newly coined Tennis Weekly Journal, brought to you by Property Hub Invest, live from Roland Garros. So until then, it's au revoir from Alina.
Au revoir.
And it's au revoir from me. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time on Tennis Weekly Journal.